contemporary context. The history and contemporary status of Roma community reflect an intricate interplay of entrenched cultural traditions, historical adaptations, and persistent systemic challenges faced by and encountered by the Roma communities. Roma in Bulgaria constitute the third largest ethnic group after Bulgarians and Turks. According to the 2011 census of Bulgaria, the population of Roma is estimated to be 326,000. However, the estimates by NGOs and other civil societies or the European Union, the number varies from 800,000 to 900,000. There is a stark discrepancy between official numbers and demographic estimates. Because of the several reasons that I don't want to touch upon today with speakers, he will further elaborate what are the reasons for the differences in estimates by the civil society organizations and the census. The Bulgarian Roma are a diverse community, broadly classified into distinct internal groups. A few to mention, that's the very important to mention, like Kaldaresh and Yearly. The Yearly group, they are known to be the earliest settlers in Bulgaria. And Budari and Boyash, these are the prominent Romani groups have been living in Bulgaria in a different part of Bulgaria. Because the Roma are territorially distributed in almost every district of Bulgaria, Roma remain to date the greatest pariah of ethnic groups in all Eastern Europe, including Bulgaria. If we talk about history, the ancestors of Bulgarian Roma migrated from northern India. That has been established by the different scientific studies, arriving in the Balkan region predominantly between 13th and 14th century. The earliest cogent evidence dates back to 1378 in a charter issued by Ivan Shishman, the last Tsar of the Second Bulgarian Empire, established that the Roma gypsies first definitely appeared in Bulgaria during the 14th century. If we look at the contemporary situations or contemporary status of Roma, that can be defined by abysmal poverty, deep-rooted seclusions, discriminations, underrepresentations in public life and the political landscape. European Union Agency for Fundamental Rights studies indicate the complex trajectory. 53% Bulgarian Roma are under poverty line, and 35% of them are faced with the absolute poverty. There's a severe material deprivation. Around 40% of Roma are unemployed. As a result, the many Bulgarian Roma started migrating to the Western European countries for seasonal or permanent works or ad hoc works. More than 57% Roma in Bulgaria live in a severe housing deprivation. 79% of the Roma are living in overcrowded houses without sanitations, drinkable waters. So these are the contemporary situations. Today we have very eminent speakers. They will dwell upon or they will speak in details about the contemporary and historical situations and status of the Roma community in Bulgaria. So now I would like to stop here and I would like to call upon and request our Secretary General, Honorable Shyam Parandeji, to deliver the welcome address. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Zameer. Dear brothers and sisters, good evening, participants from India, Bharat, Borotham, and Good afternoon to the participants from Europe. I'm delighted to be talking to you and welcoming you to the 50th lecture conducted by Center for Roma Studies and Cultural Relations under the auspices of Antar Rashtriya Sahayog Parishad, which is Indian Council for International Cooperation. The name itself tells what we do. We mainly focus on Indian diaspora of recent origin. We also have taken up since last decade or more the study of Roma. And for that purpose, we have established Center for Roma Studies and Cultural Relations. The project earlier was supported by External Affairs Ministry, and even now we keep interacting with the ministry. Our interest in Roma studies is much beyond just study, because we are interested to connect Roma communities spread across various parts of Europe and otherwise the world globally to India. Most of the Romas believe that their origin is from India. And there have been a number of studies to prove that they originated from India and migrated to various parts of Europe. Thus, the connect is there. However, there is very little study on this part, while on European side, there are universities which have departments of Roma. And today we are listening to scholars from International Roma Research Institution, Bulgaria. Such institutes and such departments are all over the Europe, and they have been studying Roma issues. We are aware that there is a crisis in Europe related to Roma human rights. However, things are now changing, and we hope that Roma community will be provided equal rights in each and every country of Europe, especially the Eastern Europe. Bulgaria, for that matter, happens to be a very important center or country for Roma activity, having large Roma population that is active, that is working for the betterment of the Roma society as compared to some of the other countries. So today we are going to listen to three scholars together. Generally, we restrict ourselves to two, but all the three scholars, Mr. Boyko Nikolov, Mr. Dobromir Batinkov, and Bojidar Nikolov, work for International Roma Research Institute, Bulgaria. And I'm sure we are going to listen to very informative and knowledgeable overview of the Roma community, their history, and their present status. I think we also should start talking about the upliftment of the Roma community in all these countries. And of course, there is a part of Roma community which is well educated, well placed, socially elite. However, there is another part of the Roma community which is underprivileged. And we need to take care of that part also. Take them along for the development of Roma, that part of Roma community. Their education is basic, their health is then the second part, and make them culturally aware. I'm very happy, or rather proud, that Romas, wherever they went, have preserved their language as well as culture. And their cultural performances are seen all over the world and respected. There are many artists who belong to Roma community, and then they have established themselves as professional artists. Having said that, I welcome all the three speakers to this lecture, the 50th one. Rightly, you are the half centurions, and you are welcome to speak. I'm sure we are going to listen to the status of the Romas here and ways to develop the rest of the Roma community. So namaste and welcome you all. I expected more people to join. However, today somehow we have a little lesser attendance. However, this lecture is being recorded and will be available for everybody to listen online. So thank you very much for joining and welcome again. Namaste.
Thank you very much, sir, for your remarks. And now I would like to call upon Dobromir and Boyko to deliver the lecture. Now, floor is yours. Thank you. You can unmute yourself. Dobromir, you can unmute yourself.
Yes. Прикажи пак.
С тебе сте тявен палалин. Нека Индия поздруžila България и окаря паленда. А заедно здесь нека теле каменса.
So, brothers and sisters from India and other countries, we wish you all success and good health, and may today's session and day be blessed for all of us. Thank you. Okay.
И няколко думи за мен.
I'll also say a few words about my history in Roma projects and myself.
Значи тръгнах с един активен Мануш Романов, първия депутат през 1939 година.
I started after the end of communism in Bulgaria. I started with the Bulgaria, who was called Manus Romanov from Varna, Bulgaria.
Участвал съм на доста проекти на земеделието също.
I have taken active part in many projects, including giving agricultural land to Roma families. I used to have a lot of land and equipment like tractors and other equipment.
Даже помогнах и за нашите брата роми, които и те, на тях им помогнахме за проекти към земеделието.
We have been trying to help multiple Roma families, our brothers and sisters, to help to start their business in agriculture and farming.
Значи от родът ми вече към Сливен над 100 години.
My family line from Sliven, my hometown, is more than 100 years old. We are probably 4 or 5 generations already.
Аз съм четвърто, пето поколение в
I am the fifth generation, but I have also children and great-grandchildren.
И стига толкова, нали, за мен.
So I will finish the presentation about me, not to speak too much and take the floor.
От тук нататък, нали, от целия свят да се съберем и да решим нещо за нас.
We are looking forward to gather all the people like us from the Roma community and other activists and helpers so that we can help our brothers and sisters to improve their standard of living in life.
Да работим за нашите брата и сестри.
So that we can work to provide them assistance to our brothers and sisters.
Кой за ума си.
Whoever is we can use that knowledge.
И който е богат да се работи за средствата.
And whoever can assist us in providing financial support, it will be also welcome. The rest people will join with their own work.
Защото ние ромите вече полека-лека забравям си традициите.
Because as far as I'm concerned, my Roma community, the young people are already forgetting our old traditions, and the world is changing too fast. We need to preserve our traditions and our culture and history.
Един народ, който се събра традициите, полека-лека отчезва. Нека да направим тъй, че да не чезваме.
A nation which forgets its history and traditions starts to disappear from the historical scene, so we are looking forward to preserve ourselves among the other nations and people. That is as far as I will go so far.
Има и други, които вече ще кажат какво е мнението за тях.
There are many people that can share their attitude and opinion about this matter. So I would like to, spare time for the rest of the participants also. Okay, thank you. So I will take it on from here. My name is Dobromir Batinkov. I was born in Sliven, Bulgaria, and studied English linguistics and civilization at the Sofia University in Bulgaria, and later I was involved in project management and development of the non-profit organizations by taking part in an internship at the Johns Hopkins University in America. And for over 38 years, I have been involved in multiple projects, including support for the Roma community in my hometown and nationwide. I have also taken part in many other projects regarding the Roma. For instance, a Norwegian film director produced a film about the Roma family from Sliven, which is called Fana's Family Album. Fana was the woman who was the mother of in the family. I will provide links later to all the participants that are in this lecture to the film. Also, after returning, because my wife and I have been based in our capital, Sofia, for many years, but we returned back to Sliven in 2014. And I started going deeper into the history of the Roma people by reading a book by a researcher, a world-renowned researcher from my hometown, our hometown of Sliven. His name is Antar Rashtriya. He used to do a lot of research on different subjects, including the history of the Roma people. He worked at the BBC in London, the Bulgarian section, and later migrated to the United States. And he did some very serious research there on the history of the Roma also at the Library of Congress. He came back to our hometown after the end of communism, while his death sentence was still active. and he published a book called The World of the Gypsies, Светът на циганите, back in 2002. And that was the first serious research on the history of the Roma and the connection with India that I came upon. And this is how I got involved deeper into studying the history of the Roma people. Later, by knowing Boyko and working with him to provide different support for the different Roma communities, including families with young children, sick people that need medical assistance, and so on. We started applying for multiple projects, including cooperation with Norwegian and American and other and French also and other organizations, and by trying to find a good a place in Europe where you could actually study Romani language, we came upon the Indian connection by meeting Janardhan Patania, the person who published a book on the Romani chip or the Romani language and its connection with the languages of northern India. He is from the town of Jammu, from the state of Jammu and Kashmir, and he claims in his book that the Romani language is very close to his mother's side of the family, and it was easy for him to study this language. So I can also provide a link to his book later for whoever is interested. By getting in touch with him, we also got in touch with Mr. 𝒊𝒔𝒄𝒍𝒂𝒊𝒎𝒆𝒓 from Chandigarh in Punjab, and he was organizing an organization called CAFLA, which was an international association for culture and research, and part of it, this is their last edition of their magazine. So we were invited to join an international writers conference in Indore, Madhya Pradesh in India, in October 2018. We took the opportunity to gather together with us a film director and a camera operator so that we could start researching our possibilities to actually create a documentary film about the history of the Roma and their Indian origins. And after the session at Indore, we went back to Mr. Bharadwaj's hometown of Chandigarh, where we visited the first Indian Roma center of the late Mr. Virendra Rishi, where we came upon the biannual journals that were published by his organization in Chandigarh, and there in every issue there was an appeal personally by Mr. Rishi, who used to work at the Indian Foreign Service. He was the first Indian ambassador to Moscow, and he was also present at the first Romani Congress back in 1971, organized by Mr. Grattan Paxson in London, England. And there in his journal, he had in every issue, he had an appeal to ask every researcher to connect the Roma people of Europe, mainly with the warrior classes of northern India, who are Kshatriya, Rajput, and Jats. And that was something that was groundbreaking for me and for everyone I knew from the research area, because it was a common understanding at that time for every researcher of the Roma people, their origin and history, that the Roma came from lower classes. But this was a groundbreaking change and news for me personally. So we went on to do more research, and we had to continue our work on the documentary project. However, unfortunately, we lost our friend and teacher and leader, Mr. 𝒊𝒔𝒄𝒍𝒂𝒊𝒎𝒆𝒓, to an illness back in February 2019. So we have been trying to find possibilities for funding and research ever since. But then we entered into the COVID lockdown years and so on. So we're still continuing to be active and to provide any possible assistance. Unfortunately, as Bulgaria is member of the European Union since 2007, we have not been able to come upon a lot of funding provided for the Roma because of different issues, mainly the far-right sections of in all of Europe, Italy, the United Kingdom, my partners from Norway, my traditional partners from Norway and others, including my own area. So the funding for the Romani projects was either channeled through corruption channels connected to the whichever political party was in power at that moment in history, but also in general through the European Parliament. It has become really very difficult. However, we very much insist on trying to be active with the Roma community worldwide. We have been keeping close connection with Mr. Grutton Paxson, who organized the first Romani Congress on the 8th of April 1971 from England, Colchester, England. Also with the World Roma Federation and other organizations from India and other countries. And that is the place to mention that our hometown is not just any town in Bulgaria. It was the first major industrial center of the late Ottoman Empire before Bulgaria got in its independence from the Ottomans in 1878. At that point, our hometown was the most developed textile center of the Ottoman Empire on its European territory. And the first textile factory was set up in 1835 by an entrepreneur from Sliven called Dobromir 𝒊𝒔𝒄𝒍𝒂𝒊𝒎𝒆𝒓. When he signed the contract to set up the factory, which was supposed to provide clothing for the regular Ottoman army, the Sultan at that time had a very special request to the Bulgarian entrepreneur to employ 100 families of his brothers and sisters, and he especially insisted that 100 families from Istanbul are taken to this factory so that they can learn the process of producing textile on industrial scale. And this is how the first Roma families came to and were settled in Sliven in the mid-19th century, which probably makes our hometown one of the first places where the Roma were permanently settled and were on direct servants or direct workers of the Sultan, which put them above any other person in the Ottoman Empire, including Turks, Bulgarians, Armenians, and others. That is one very important historical fact. And as I was growing up in communism, it was a common knowledge for people from my hometown that Sliven is the cultural capital of the Roma people in Bulgaria, because mainly most of the doctors, ship captains, and engineers came from the Roma community in Sliven. Actually, I was born in the hands of a gynecologist who was a Roma doctor from Sliven, because he was at that time the best gynecologist. He also after the changes, after communism ended, he set up the first private hospital in Bulgaria, here in my hometown. It's called Eva, which means Eve, like Adam and Eve, here in Sliven. So Sliven is famous for its Roma activists, its Roma organizations, its Roma painters and artists and musicians also. They, unfortunately, in the years after the dissolvement of communism, we went into several, financial catastrophes in the country. And even after joining the European Union, Bulgaria still suffers from its exceptionally hard brain drain, and also the migration of many young people from the country. So at the moment, out of close to 9 million, when we were back in 1990, Bulgaria is about 6.5. That means that more than 2.5, probably 3 million people have left the country permanently, including all the Roma that can get a job somewhere else in Europe. They're also moving out. So that is what we're facing at the moment. Another interesting fact from the research of the book of Antar Rashtriya that I came upon, which is also a very little known fact, is that during the Second World War, Bulgaria was neutral, but it was, let's say, neutral towards the Germans and the Soviet Union. And the ambassador of Hitler in Sofia sent a telegram as they were preparing to gather all the Jews from Bulgaria. And he wrote in his telegram back in 1942 that Bulgarians, unfortunately, have been living with other lower nations like Armenians, Greeks, and Gypsies and Roma, and therefore they do not understand the importance of having a pure race, as the National Socialists used to call it around Hitler at that time, which resulted in the fact that Bulgaria did not let any of its Jews or Roma people to be deported to the death camps in Poland and Germany. That is a fact that very few people know about, because there is no Roma family in Bulgaria that has a history or remembers anything in their family history about somebody being deported or to be exterminated in the death camps. So that is another interesting fact. And also, I'd like to point another important fact that I came across during my research. The country of Egypt was conquered by the Rashidun Caliphate, the Arab armies, in the mid 7th century, and later, when the Caliphate dissolved, Egypt went into being a Mamluk state, which means the state of the free warriors. Mamluk, as they are called in Arab, and they were warriors from different origins. Some were from Central Asia, some were former European crusaders, and there were also some people from the warrior families of India as well. And the word Roma, according to some researchers, because I have checked it with some people who are experts in Coptic language. Coptic language is the descendant of the old Egyptian language, and it was used as an administrative language for at least 100 to 150 years in Egypt after the Arab conquest, as most of the Egyptian Copts gradually turned into Muslim faith, but the word for people and in Coptic is Roma, which comes from the old Egyptian Ramat. So I think there is a need to have some more research there, in my opinion, and that is how I just want to mention that too. So we are looking forward to cooperation with India, especially because in my humble opinion, we're the first ones in the past 2 decades that have started on this um, quest to make a proper documentary film about the Indian origins of the Roma people of Europe, especially. And we would like to welcome any assistance from any of you. We will provide an official letter. So, Zameer, if you're so kind, you could distribute it to the people who are watching this. And that is how I would like to finish. We would appreciate if for any kind of support that we could get to finish our film project. I think this should be enough because time is going on. So I suggest that we would move into our session with questions and answers now. Is that fine? Is that okay?
All right. Okay. So what about the other the speaker?
The other
Bojidar
speaker,
Nikolov?
Bojidar Nikolov, he said in the beginning that he had about 20 minutes left because he had to go and assist somebody who was experiencing some medical issues and emergency. So he's asked he has to be available like a doctor in the Roma neighborhood, and he said, I'm sorry, but I have really limited time left, and he had to go in emergency, go out of the meeting. But he will be available. I will provide an email contact with him and so on. So he had to leave. He told me in Bulgarian that he had to go and help somebody with some medical emergency. That's why. So we will have to proceed without him now.
All right, thank you very much, Dobromir. And that's a very illuminating and very informative presentation and your lecture. You pointed out some very riveting and interesting facts about the history of Roma in Sliven. The Roma worked for the textile industry directly under the Ottoman Sultan and some so on and so forth. And that's about linguistic analogy between Indian language and Romani, Romanes. And you touched upon very interesting aspects, the historical aspects of Roma, especially in Sliven and Bulgaria. So thank you very much. You also talked about the recent migration of Roma community from Bulgaria to the Western European countries, as well as you intimated about the Second World War, how the Bulgaria was neutral, and that's the aftermath of the Second World War, what happened. So I stop here. So any one of you have any questions about, so I request you can put across your questions. If anyone has any questions or anyone wants to make any remarks, please.
Tu vas à l'étranger sans, je sais pas.
Yeah. Diana, if you want to make any remarks or if you want to add something, please, because I think you were also native to Bulgaria. Any questions? So I have one question. So I initiate the questions. As you mentioned about the Ottoman, because the Bulgaria was one of the vassalages, the vassal states of Ottoman Empire, and do you think what do you think? What your research says about the Roma, especially in Turkey, and when they migrated to Bulgaria, or they were forcibly sent to Bulgaria? or what that was means the forced migration, or they voluntarily went towards the Bulgaria and adjoining countries of Bulgaria?
No, the Roma, as other ethnic communities who were travelers, were traveling freely from town to town and so on. And they were still traveling when I was a little child. So in the early 70s, they were still traveling from village to village, helping with tin pottery and other things. My own grandparents were, happy to welcome any Roma who can help them, fix some iron tools and so on. But about this Roma, these 100 Roma families, they were people who were close to the sultans. That means that they were very highly respected by the sultan himself, and they were put to come here and learn about the textile production, so that they could help other Turkish entrepreneurs later with the system. They did not come here by force. They were invited by the Sultan, and they were provided all the lodgings and necessary payment, because everything was paid directly from the, as they call it, the Great Gate, which is the Sultan's administration, directly. If you're asking about the textile history. By the way, in this connection, this is a book by a person from our hometown who was an activist during communism. He was born in 1923. His name is Stoyan Kolev. He took active part in the revolutionary movement during the Second World War, and he was sent to prison during the war, and then he was freed. He was a member of the Communist Party after Bulgaria joined the Eastern Bloc of pro-Soviet communist countries, and he was one of the many Roma from Sliven who were engaged in different textile companies in our hometown for many years. They actually played a very important role in the revolutionary strikes and other manifestations and so on. They were very active in providing equal voting rights, the equal rights for women, and many other issues that were considered progressive in the late 19th and beginning of the 20th century. On that topic, there is a Norwegian researcher, Professor Emil Rørvik, who is a very good friend of our organization. He has been interested in the involvement of Roma textile workers from Sliven, from our hometown, during the 19th century, and he has a lot of books and articles written on that subject. So if anyone's interested, I can provide you with additional info.
Okay, thank you very much, Dobromir. So my another questions, out of my curiosity, means as you know, that's the revival process in Bulgaria, that the Roma were forced to change, names, and there was a Delhi coercion, and the Roma were forced to adopt the Christianity and Christian religion. So at that time, in 1960s, the Roma were subjected to horrible persecutions and oppressions in Bulgaria. So would you like to shed some light on it?
Okay, so there were several waves of forcibly changing the religion of Roma from their traditional religion, which was Islam, to Christianity several times in the 60s and later in the 80s also. My colleague Boyko, he was named after his grandfather, and his grandfather's name was Umer or Amir, which means prince in Arabic. And when he was supposed to join the army in 1982, he was born 1964, when he was 18, they asked him what Bulgarian name he could choose. And he said, well, I'm named after my grandfather. The people from the police at that time said, well, we'll change the name of your grandfather. He said, but he's in the ground. He is passed already, so you cannot do that. And then they locked him up for 2 days, and his parents didn't know where he was. So he's a true representative of that generation of Roma who were oppressed by the regime, forcibly changing their name, their origin, and so on. And that happened not only to the Roma, but also to the Bulgarian Muslims, as they are called Pomaks, in different parts of the country, and also other ethnic groups. But especially the communist regime was especially hard on the Roma communities. However, some families turned by their own will to Christianity in the 19th century. So there are two types of Christian groups among the Roma community. One is connected to the traditional Bulgarian Orthodox, Eastern Orthodox Church, and the other ones are connected to the Protestant churches, close to the American and German Protestant traditions. There is also a major part of the Roma community who are Muslims also, who are Muslim. And so there are the three parts, the two Christian groups, and there is a big Muslim part also in today's Bulgaria among the Roma here.
Thank you, Dobromir. Any more questions? If you have any questions, please. Anyone wants to make any remarks to this presentation?
Yes, Zameer, you want to ask something, okay?
Hello, Johnny. Yes, please.
Hi, how are you? Yes, interesting. First of all, congratulations to the presentation. I've listened to this thing. It's very common for me. But I would you like to ask something? How is the situation today on the aspect of the social and the human rights, like for the Romani people in Bulgaria? Anyone can answer more this question from the panel discussion.
So today the Roma are experiencing some really hard times. There is no funding, there is no support from municipal. For instance, some Roma are not being let to enter a restaurant, for instance, in our town. So it was never like that before. They were not let into the restaurant because of their skin color or other reasons. So we need international support and discussion about these issues, so that we can cancel such behavior. But we need the international support because it still happens locally, and it is going from bad to worse. Okay.
But you as an NGO, you have the power to do. Because I'm original from Macedonia, Skopje, and always when we have something such as these things, we use the opportunity to protect this. Do we have this? Do you like support from the other organization who is like European? Did you search some help?
Yes, we have been trying to get in touch with different organizations to, like for instance, the Roma Rights Foundation in Europe and others. We also visited Skopje 2 times when Zoran Dimov was the chairman of the International Roma Union, and we took part in the parliament session there in 2019. We have been trying also with Daniel Petrovsky and Branko, his uncle, his father, and others. So we have been trying to, get in touch with other organizations, but we have found it very, very difficult to get support. There are some Bulgarian organizations that provide free, like juridical assistance, like lawyers and so on. But it's still we still need more support internationally so that we can make sure that our problems are heard outside of our communities.
Absolutely.
Yeah, understandable. There are big. But the problem it is like if you're connected to some like European court of the Strasbourg, exists some law that Europe, because Bulgaria is a European Union partner, they can hear you, but you have to write some statement, the reality, what happened, and to give that statement to some part of the human right. As understand, the Roman young people has so many educated lawyer. I know many of them who is in Sofia. They're like working on this issue. You have to take touch in that one. They can help you. Only suggestion because they have a lot of them. I don't know if you know the Angel or the guy who is a lawyer. He's from Sofia, but live now at home in London. He's working on this issue. I don't know if you know him.
I don't know this particular person, but I know many lawyers, and we have already made it possible, me personally, together with Boyko and our organization, for instance, to help young Roma men to have their ID card issued. They have no legitimization of any kind, and that we have helped them to get their passport so that they can actually get out of their community, because they have no papers at all and nobody's helping them. So we made it so many organizations like ours, including ours, to change the law so that they're provided an address so that they can have ID card and papers and passports so that they can travel around Europe. And we have helped multiple people, maybe more than 10, 12 people we have already provided such support. Unfortunately, it is not on a person-by-person basis. We need more national and international involvement in this. We need more volunteers. We need support from other countries, because on a local basis, it is almost impossible for us to solve our issues. Yeah.
First of all, congratulations for your work. It's normal because the biggest issue between the Roman projects from Bulgaria, all the Balkan countries, the identification. But you are doing a great job, and keep continuing. Congratulations. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Johnny. So any more questions? I think nobody has any questions. So thank you. So now it's time to wind up this 50th virtual lecture, and I extend my sincere thanks to all of you who participated in this virtual lecture of the Roma Lecture Series. And I am especially on behalf of Center for Roma Studies and Cultural Relations and Indian Council for International Cooperations, we are obliged to accepting our invitation to participate or to deliver this special lecture on the subject of Roma community, Bulgarian Roma historical and contemporary status. So I thank sincerely Dobromir and Boyko for delivering this lecture. And other participants, I really appreciate for your participations, your valuable participations in this lecture. And I'm very much thankful. And I expect you to join in our next lecture in next month. And I thank on behalf of Antar Rashtriya Sahayog Parishad, Indian Council for International Cooperations, Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. So see you on the next lecture. Okay. Thank you, Zameer. Thank you for everyone.
Thank you all.
Thank you,
See
Johnny.
from us
Thank you,
also.
Diana. Thank you, Raime. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Have a nice
Thank you,
day.
Raime. You too. Bye.
Bye.
Дневников правильно.
Да, так добре. Сега му грешко е.
Не, question. Вземеш телефона, че това да мога да ти звъни. Дай да го направим. Да ме направя просто на